Well, hello. Welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate and stuff. We're here this Friday with Carlos and a guest. I'll let him introduce. Brandin will join us at some point. Technical difficulties, gotta love it. But welcome to the show. We're talking all about AI this week with somebody I would classify as a expert in the industry, and we're gonna have a lot of fun conversations. Take it away, Carlos. Who's here with us today?
Well, a lot of you guys are probably assuming there's a chance it could be a AI generated deep fake of Brent versus actually being Brent, but it is him live in the flesh. He's not in the studio. He had some family interesting stuff. But we have Brent Moreno. If any of you guys are in like the wholesaling investing space and friends with Brent or other people on social media, he's been doing podcast tours and talking a lot about AI, has a newsletter we're going to link up. So he's really kind of like the industry leader, I guess, for lack of a better term, of AI, and just putting out a lot of cool thought concepts and his opinions on what's going on and really being able to dive in there. So Brent, I just hit up Brent out of the blue. I know he's a former Investor Fuse guy, but I appreciate, man, just was willing to hop right on here and talk AI. So welcome and thank you, man. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Like I was telling you guys the other day, it's like anytime I get to talk about AI, I'm happy to do it, simply because I live in South Alabama and there's just not a lot of people who are paying attention to this.
You go to the local coffee store and have a convo.
I mean, you'd be surprised like how many people I run into on a daily basis that are like, no, I still haven't. Even people I know, like I still haven't used ChatGPT or what's that? I'm like, where have y'all been?
Yeah,
crazy, man.
Cool.
Speaking of innovative tools like ChatGPT, we got Mr. Brandin Pedersen on, aka Papa P, aka Mr. Real Papa P, how we living over there? We just introduced Brent.
So that's a lot of AKAs, Brent, bro.
Well, you know what they say: the more nicknames somebody has, or the bigger intro or more prestigious intro they have, the better the person, the higher caliber person. So
as long as you don't come up with them yourself, is how it goes.
That is correct. You do not get to name yourself.
You don't want to be, unless you're P. Diddy, because P. Diddy has changed his name numerous times. Puff Daddy, Diddy, P. Diddy. I think he was P Daddy at one time, but we're not going to go
Diddy.ai, I think.
Diddy. Well, he's coming out with that, actually. It's the new AI for Bad Boy Entertainment. So what's going on, man?
Or you can just change your name to a symbol. Yeah, that works too.
I might do that. Money. Just the money symbol.
Just the money symbol.
Boom. I identify as money.
We're just hopping on. Definitely a lot of money here. We're confirming that Brent isn't like an AI generated deep fake here. It's actually him in person in the studio.
We wouldn't know.
We wouldn't know. But Brent, man, tell us a little bit about like what your real estate career has been like and what took you down the path of AI, getting into AI.
So backtracking a little bit before, I spent about 10 years doing experiential marketing for Fortune 500 companies like Anheuser-Busch. Had a great time doing that. That's where I met Max Maxwell. Him and I worked on the road together doing events, and we became good friends. And I saw that he had a house for like 20 grand. He posted on Instagram. This is before he was doing any YouTube stuff. So I called him, and he's like, yeah, come on up to Winston-Salem. I was living in South Carolina. He said, I'll show you what I've been doing. And I went up there, and I was kind of like, Jonah Hill on Wolf of Wall Street. I was like, you showed me a check for 70 grand. And I quit my job right now. I didn't quit my job, but I did start studying and learning. And within probably 3 or 4 months, I started really actually taking action on what I was learning. Got into it and realized it was a repeatable thing I could do while I was on the road. I had Uber drivers. I was one of the first people to ever like hire Uber drivers. I had my own Facebook group full of Uber drivers, and they were scouting properties for me, doing driving for dollars, and sending me the addresses, and I would skip trace them, and I'd call them when I was on the road in a hotel and schedule appointments for when I came back. And I immediately realized that this is something I could do over and over. Like this is, my first check was like 12, 13 grand, and that was more. And I made good money. I made 6 figures working for Anheuser, but like I didn't make that in a month. So I immediately was like, if I can just do like 10 of these a year, like I'm good. And
that's how it always starts, man.
That's how it always starts, right? And I got around some higher level people who were doing, I saw $100,000 a month, and I was like, okay, I got to hit that, right? But how do I get there? And I joined some masterminds, and got in the room with some people who were doing some really big things. I really didn't belong there. I kind of snuck my way in and paid the entry fee, which was expensive, but I definitely wasn't anywhere near their caliber. And I learned a lot and made a lot of great connections, some that I still have today from that first mastermind. And when I got into AI, it was a very turbulent time in my life because I had a partner in Mississippi. We were doing close to 100 homes a year. We split ways. We parted ways, and I moved to the beach. And I was like, I'll start this whole process back over. But what I didn't realize was, like, I had a whole team around me, and I was kind of more on the marketing side of things. I didn't really enjoy the negotiating side, even though I can structure a deal. If it's a deal, I can structure it. If there's ever one to have, I just didn't really enjoy that side of the business. I didn't enjoy the side of the business of managing people. And I started flipping houses and in a new market, new contractors, unfamiliar territory, got kicked in the teeth a bunch of times. And I was like, I was really stressed out. And luckily, I have a pretty badass wife who is a real estate attorney who has 2 offices. We opened one up at the beach. So that's the reason we kind of moved down that way. And she was like, you really should just take a step back. This is really stressful, and figure out what it is you want to do. And I was like, I've been following AI and this tech, and I have a software company. That's really what I enjoy. That's really what I'd like to focus on. So she was like, just go for it, take it. And I said, all right, well, I'm going to dive headfirst in AI, learn everything I can, and here we are today. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm not a programmer by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not a machine learning engineer. But I do research this stuff. I keep my finger on the pulse, and I'm constantly looking for what's new and thinking about what the future looks like.
Amazing. With Mother's Day coming up on Sunday, I want to give a shout out not only to all the mothers, but all the supportive wives on here. Shannon, Miss Moreno, Mama P, all them. Yeah. I'm curious, what do you think off the top here? And then I'll kick it over to John and Brandon. But high level, what's like the biggest implications of AI for real estate people listening to this right now?
I think, high level is going to be 60 to 80% of everything that you do is going to be automated. Meaning I still think meeting across the table and building that rapport and getting that deal done and structuring things creatively we're still a little ways out. But high level, I mean, your cold callers, your lead intakes, your data management, all that stuff will be handled by AI.
You're on with 2 co-founders of a SaaS product for data management, so I know that this conversation is going to come up. Papa P, what are you thinking?
I just found it funny that my mobile home park just said thank you in the comments. I was like, cool. My mobile home park's AI is responding as he's talking about it. I'm like, the fucking park's speaking to No, that was my wife responding thank you to you. But I just thought it was funny. I don't know. I don't know Brent. I don't know what he does. I'd love to find out. This is the first I missed our Tuesday meeting, so I'm coming in like fucking blind as a bat, bro. I got no idea what it is, but I would argue, because I have no knowledge otherwise, that you could replace a cold caller in the next 5 years with AI. Because of conversation, like texting, I think could be done eventually. I think there's still nuances that would have to play into that with sarcasm and stuff. But cold calling, I would find it more difficult. Now with the data side, I 100% agree with you. Like like John knows, I just created a bot to do all the stuff for me to click and download all of my data from certain websites that I've added into like my stuff that I do with like my trainees and stuff. So like all I got to do is click a button and so that's where I'm going with it is we're all using the word AI, but it's not truly artificial intelligence as in deep learning, machine learning, but more about robots or bots and automation powered by computers. I 100% agree with where he's going. I've already started looking at that. Like I was telling John, like, bro, what if we do this and then this and this, and you don't even have to click a button. You just have this to it all. And we're getting to that point. So I think there will be a lot of those tasks just wiped. But cold calling?
Well, this is going to be so I'm working on voice assistants now. And places like the Golden Nugget are already handling 75% of their intake with AI voice assistants.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between me calling you wanting to book a room with the Golden Nugget, is what I believe you just said. So I'm thinking Golden Nugget in Vegas, right?
Well, yeah, that's the casinos. Yeah,
Yeah,
they have several of them. Yeah,
100% versus me trying to buy your $300,000 house and trying to hold on a nuanced conversation with you.
yes.
One, I'm expecting that.
Cold calling, on the other hand, no. So this is where you and I may differ on things. Cold calling, I'm building voice assistants that aren't doing cold calling. They're not designed for cold calling. They're designed for more of lead intake and follow-ups.
Give me an example of that. Like lead into, like, what's the combo going like?
The combo is you're basically basing that off of certain pillars, right? All I need to really know is what's the time frame they're looking to sell, what's the price they're looking to get, what's the condition of the house, and what's their reason for selling.
Order taking. Just like, let me fill out this form and ask you these pre-filled questions, but they're not going to have full-on conversations as of the next 5 years. They're not going to sit there and go, "How's the kids?"
I wouldn't say next 5 years, because, and the reason I say that, everything is moving at such an exponential rate that we've never, even researchers that have been on this for 10, 15 years did not predict the level of increase of productivity and automation that we're seeing now, and then level of advancements. And that's because everything used to be niche. If you were working on one level of machine learning, you were working on computer vision. If you're working on another side, then you're working on large language model sides. So you're doing all these different things. Everything now has become a language. And what I mean by that is, like, even Wi-Fi radio signals can be turned into a language. They're taking fMRI data, and they're able to take and show people images, and then based on their fMRI scans, they can recreate that image using AI, or they can even make it to where it's literally reading your thoughts. So whatever you think, I see a woman getting hit in the back. I see a woman who looks a lot like me getting hit in the back and getting knocked off a cliff. Like, it would literally show, like, they'll show them a video, and the fMRI data that scans will actually recreate exactly what they saw.
Bro, I just want this to be clear. I came up with that idea when I was like 8 fucking year old. So somebody owes me some fucking residuals. Right. I remember going to my mom being like, wouldn't it just be cool if, like, when I was thinking something, there was like a video projection of it? Yeah. But, okay. So we're
getting into some realms where, like, you literally can download your dreams when you wake up in the morning.
That's so crazy.
That would be insane.
And we're not, and that's not talking 5-10 years out. We're talking, like, there already are devices and crowns that can read your fMRI data. And
yeah, but to go mainstream, man, to sit here and say that me and I guess we could do different income brackets, but if I'm making, $400K a year plus all my costs, is it going to make sense for me to go buy something? Or are you saying it's cheap enough? So, like, we're at Moore's Law, essentially, right? Everything doubles and then gets cheaper at the same time. So every 2 years, you're saying
we're Moore's Law. We're about Moore's Law squared. Right.
Yeah, okay. I thought you were going to say that. I was listening to a thing with Dan Martell yesterday, actually talking about that. Sorry, did my computer? I think I just went on sleep mode. I don't know.
No, you're good.
But yeah, I'm with you on that, man. I don't know. And it's a lack of experience. I've never encountered a robotic voice. I mean, they have problems with a Filipino voice, or an Indian voice.
This isn't your robot's voice anymore. I mean, it's good enough now. The technology is good enough now. All we need is 3 seconds of your voice to clone it.
Are we talking like her status?
Yeah, yeah.
I think I heard on the news there's this story. This lady was like, somebody called me and it was my daughter's voice telling me that I was like, she was in trouble, kidnapped, send money, and it wasn't.
Scam. That's a new scam going around. Multiple people that's happened to.
That's happened, and it's going to happen at a faster rate than ever before, unless we can figure out, like, that's the reason there was a huge big letter on the pause, right? There was a letter that was signed by Elon Musk, Steve Wozniak, and a bunch of other big tech people who, like, we need to pause this.
But they ain't gonna pause it because they're not
uncontrollable.
Well, it's not.
Yeah, the genie's out of the bottle, and we're not going to be able to pause research, but we can pause public deployment without any regard.
There you go. You can pause public deployment, but you will not stop governmental deployment Because even if America as a country, even if all of the Europe and Canada and everybody says we're going to stop, China's not going to stop. And if China's not stopping, then our government's not going to stop to use AI-assisted weaponry and all kinds of stuff. We're not going to stop that. They can make the public stop.
China has their own problems with they're so far behind right now when it comes to their AI advancement, simply because they're too scared to launch a large language model that doesn't bring up things like Tiananmen Square.
Well, I heard that between their social credit score and their computer modeling now, they're identifying people in real time and then finding them and charging them and actually punishing them as soon as their computer recognizes them jaywalking, doing something illegal. Got your face, recognizes you, goes to your bank account, finds you, and then bans you from flying. I was like, but again, not true. Like, that's computer automation, that's computer code, computer tech. Right. But at what point do you say that goes a step too far? And if China is going to keep doing that, why wouldn't America do that?
Oh yeah, I mean, we don't know what the NSA and CIA and all of them have capabilities of. I mean, it's known fact that there wouldn't be a Google if there wasn't a CIA. It's like
that's true. I guess we're getting off topic because now we went into government.
Well, it's high level that kind of like loops back to global economics, global human.
Yeah. But to reel it all back, because me and John have this conversation when it comes to REI App Center, and I believe you can automate like the majority of the tasks being done. Now, I still think you need a human to a certain extent, right?
Yeah.
But you can automate. If I tell you, like, I want this done, and I write it out in a sheet, I can have a robot read what I wrote out in the sheet, translate that to another program. You can have multiple robots stacked on top of each other telling you what to do on a schedule to download from a site predetermined with all the stuff that I've written out and go, okay, I'm going to click this, download my data. Then another bot goes to that file, picks it up, sends it over to your system to do it. And it can all be automated, whereas before you had a human, and then you paid that human $450, $350 an hour. I mean, and that's kind of where I felt like Carlos was talking about, or you guys were talking about, as like real estate guys. What can you replace today, not 5 years? 5 years would be more. But I think today you could replace that much.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So that's a huge cost savings.
Oh, yes.
From a marketing perspective, since, I mean, that's what you said you kind of enjoy doing in your other business. If we were to look at the average real estate investor today, what should they be looking at AI to help them do? To replace a person, save costs, or, and enhance things that, they need in their business?
I mean, the most obvious thing is content, right? Is creating content. That's the easiest, and as far as like everyone jumping in, is creating great copy for your Facebook, for your ads, for your SEO blogs, all that stuff. That's the most obvious thing that you can do right now. Now, there's already people who are integrating like dispo managers that are working pretty well, it seems like, that are handling
dispo managers. How?
Yeah.
Well, they're handling the text conversations.
Okay.
Well, think about that. That's not hard.
Yeah.
Take what I just said, and let's just use a basic system like Podio. You type the email, you fill out all the boxes based on something that your acquisition rep already, like a web form. It goes, does this, picks the list that you're going to do it, selects that, email goes out, boom, click the box, upload the list into your texter. Like, I can see all that happening.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
interesting.
John, new ideas, John.
Okay, calm down. I never thought about the dispo side. I was thinking, like, I just want to hop back to acquisitions real quick because you were talking about like lead intake, and I'm trying to figure out if that's even really a good idea. Because I was like, okay, if somebody was to call and an AI over the phone could hold enough conversation to grab information, like they would a hotel booking, I could only really see that being like on a business card, on a piece of mail, on a website, saying like, call here and we'll gather your information, skip the form process. But then I'm like, is that even a good idea? Like, if you're doing it on your website, isn't it best to talk to that person immediately? Are you like removing a human element and ultimately hurting your business?
What if it replaces call porter?
Yeah. But again, is Call Porter good at that? Is what I'm trying to get to,
Yeah.
right?
You should be. I mean, theoretically, we should all be. We're all better at our jobs than anybody else that we would hire, anyways.
Yeah.
We should all be answering all those calls.
So that's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
So I agree to an extent, but I feel like that's a Call Porter situation.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to sell me on this call that you're going to tell me someone's going to have enough of a convo to replace that sales aspect, to having a full combo, making that person feel comfortable enough to get you up to when you're ready to hear the offer, and it's like a phone takeover from a rep or something, or even make the offer. I don't think we'll get to that, but I can say, hey, how you doing? And you just go through a web form. But that's what Call Porter does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could replace that after hours. I leave the office, I turn on my AI assistant to do that. I don't know.
A good AI product for Call Porter, as like Brent has mentioned, like SaaS companies getting into AI or adding an AI element to their SaaS product. That's the very first thing like Call Porter could do.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Anyways, back to content. I definitely see. I mean, I do that at Investor Fuse. I hate writing emails. I hate writing copy, and I use AI for all of it. I say, this is what I want it to do. I want it to sound like, and then it gives me a blurb. I edit the blurb, of course. Like I know what good copy's like, but I hate the process of doing it. So if you're looking to redo your website, even SEO, like there's great AI tools out there for SEO. Social media posts, you can certainly use that.
Don't we feel like there's too much? So like I'm on Instagram and I'm cruising and there's these code guys, techie, they're nerding out on shit, and they're over here posting these little sexy graphics like top 20 AI tools you must be using. And I fucking whatever, top 10, top 5, top 20. And it's like one, and then I see another one, and every 10 or every 20 is fucking different, to a point to where like I'm overwhelmed. I'm like, there's so many. Like I got my day is so busy with so many other fucking problems. Like now I got to interview and watch demos and figure out which one of these I want to use and how to use it. Like it's overwhelming how many choices there are. There's AI for everything.
And I wonder if there's a review site. I thought about that. It'd be great if somebody reviewed the AI.
There's several. I think there's Future Tools, and there's several others. Like you can go in and like find exactly what niche you're looking for, what you're looking, the problem you're trying to solve, and then like it'll show you all of them. Then it'll give you like the user ratings, or if they've tested it, or if they haven't tested it.
Can I get that? Can we share that?
What is that feature? I'm Googling right now.
Future Tools.
Future?
Yeah, Future Tools.
.com or .io?
Oh, hold on.
.io.
Is it IO? Yeah.
Yeah,
it is IO.
Okay, cool. This is what I've been needing in my life. Here, I'm gonna go ahead and put this up.
Yeah, a guy named Matt Wolf. He does a lot of AI content on YouTube. Created this.
This would be a good little thing, because it really is, and it's like. So I just saw another one yesterday, but there's this thing called Glow Up, and it's like you take 30. I talked about it on the podcast. I still want to use it. You take all these random photos of you. Just I mean, you could be eating, you could be sitting on the fucking toilet. It doesn't really matter. It's just looking for facial expressions, scenarios, backgrounds, outfits, clothes, hairstyles, all this stuff. And then from those 30 photos you give it, it compiles like whatever you pay for, 100 or 200 random AI generated professional photos you can upload on Instagram using copy, use all over. And then I just saw another one yesterday. And then I was looking, I was like, okay, so these are for pictures. And then I was reading these top 10 things, and it's like, okay, if you want to make video copy, you go to this one. If you want to make long form video, you go to this one. And it's like, bro, like
how many tools do you have to have?
Yeah. And then I tried using Microsoft's new designer, but I was like, I want a software style box, like I would sell software in, with the word seller finance matrix on it, with a laptop sitting next to it. Bro, like I got none of that shit. I got puppies. It's like fucking random shit. And it was horrible. And so then I started Googling what tools do that. And I got a list that I don't know what ones actually do what I want. But now I got to go try them all out to find the one that's my graphic designer.
Your graphic designer is either going to be Adobe Firefly or Midjourney, version 6, which they've already went through 5 versions in 1 year. Midjourney. And Midjourney right now is just more of an image generator, but I've already kind of got to see some of the versions 6 and 7 that are coming out, and then it'll be by the end of the year. And they're allowing you to edit and move text, and it's going to be a lot easier. But Adobe Firefly is going to also solve a lot of those problems.
So basically, guys, don't go to futuretools.io. Just text Brent for any AI website-related content. Brent, put your phone number up. Everybody's just like, I need a site that does this. You're like, here you go. But you get,
look, you can skip trace me. You can find me. I assure you. I'm not been able to pull my name off every register.
You know, somebody did that to me once. I told John I was selling like one of my course things or whatever. And he saw my ad, and he wanted to talk to me about it, and he skip traced me, got my personal cell number, called me, and he was like, listen, I either figured you'd be really pissed, or I'd at least get a hold of you, and I could talk to you and ask you the questions I need. And I was like, bro, you live by the gun, you die by the gun. I respect what you did, dude. You found me.
That's pretty funny.
But
that's funny.
But aside from having future tools, or Brent, I guess all I'm getting across is like we're at this stage, and it was like crypto too. Even the last
Wild West.
It's so much that it does feel overwhelming to me to a point where I'm just like, bro, like I can't.
I'll wait till the dust settles.
I know that doesn't make me a mover and a shaker in the game.
Yeah.
Right. Like, but I have so much going on in my life. And aside from me, like I do have like a systems ops guy in my office. He does all of our stuff when I have an idea. He helps us do all the tech stuff. But aside from every single investor hiring one or two of those people, how does a regular guy do it? How does a regular guy
stay up that night?
So do I need a VA that just specializes in doing all these things? And like a special, like how do I
think that's the interesting thing, because I mean, not only are you speaking towards like finding the tool that does what you need,
I still gotta do the work.
I've seen the same kind of Instagram videos you have, and it's like, here's how to like make an amazing video that talks about your business. And it's like, first you go use this tool to generate the script that you want. Then you go use this tool to make the video, and then you use this tool to help you with the social media. So it's like these tools don't link together. Somebody's going to have to do the process. Maybe it's still faster and better than like trying to think of it from scratch and doing it all 100% complete yourself. But there's a workflow that's in AI right now for these tools and special uses.
Yeah, there very much is still a workflow if you're trying to piece like certain things together, especially with video and stuff. It's getting better. I think it's Opus is the one I tested out the other day. It was a video, takes long form video. So I took a podcast that I did, threw it in there, and it will literally cut the angles. So if you have two or three cameras, whatever, it'll cut angles for you. It'll find some of the better content.
What?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It'll slice everything into ready to go.
Nah.
TikTok, Instagram, ready to
go.
Captions, everything.
Nah.
Is it
So you're
perfect?
telling-
No.
Okay, that's where I was getting. So if I upload this podcast right now, not now, but if we finish and I give it to it, you're telling me it'll watch it and then say, well, Brandon said this. Brent had a pretty funny thing. Let me chop this up into a minute for TikTok. That was a great 5-minute convo. Let me chop that up for YouTube. Can it do that?
It's mostly just doing like 10-second to like 30-second clips.
But it's okay.
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to watch
and
determine the funny or the intellectual or whatever the good content parts.
Here, I'll show you.
Brandon would be like, I hope mine are all the content clips are mine. All the best ones are mine. All the funniest ones are mine. That is
I'm on
so
their
cool,
website right now.
Well, so right now, so what if I gave it like, here are my clips, like this second to this second, this time to this timestamp. It can go in and clip all that out, put captions, do effects and all that.
It not only does it give you captions, it gives you a headline, it gives you hashtags, and it gives you a description.
Emoji generators.
Bro, I'm pretty sure like my daughter just lost a job.
Replacing people already.
So one of them was 46 seconds, one was a minute long, minute 7, but like.
Was the quality of them good? Like from that?
No, over $900 a month for our health insurance. And it put the emojis and everything in there.
This literally just built Why am I forgetting his name? Muscle guy on YouTube. What was his name?
Liver King.
No. $100 million offers. What is his name? Alex Hormozi. Just like made an AI that does Alex Hormozi's videos. I feel like he's the one that started that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well,
So,
we'll have to.
How do I sign up for this? Do you pay for it?
It'd be a Gary Vee, actually. I would say probably pioneered.
That's true. You're right.
Whoa. Do we pay for this? Is this free? This is. I'm on their website. This is John. Drop the website here as a thing. This is some actionable stuff. How much is this? Is this free? Because everybody who's on a podcast or as a YouTube, it literally is like drop a YouTube link, and it's just going to do what you just showed us.
Yeah, I didn't touch it.
That's insane.
It literally just did it.
Bro, I'm doing it right now. So do you have to pay for it? I don't see anywhere that I pay.
I didn't pay for my first one. That's the only one I used it on. I did that one like a week ago. Yeah, I didn't have to pay for that. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a paid feature coming, but the big goal right now, because there's so many AI products, if you can get the most amount of attention, you can get the most amount of dollars in investment. So like there's a company called Tome that I talked about like back in December. All they do is like spreadsheets, which Google and Microsoft are going to kill. But they got 1 million people to sign up to their website. It was completely free. They have no way to monetize it, or not any. They had no plan to monetize it in a certain way. They got $40 million in investment.
Jeez, what's that do in spreadsheets? See, this is just fun. I'm having a good time.
So if you want to make some money, it's InvestorFuse AI now.
Yeah, John, why are we not REIOpsCenter.ai? Like what?
It should be that.
Yeah,
we're switching.
Explain, Brent. Hit on that really quick, we can loop back to it. But why companies should brand as that? Like why we should be InvestorFuse AI or REIOpsCenter.ai?
Right now, I mean, obviously, there's a ton of people that are doing that. But if you were looking for any kind of advantage, because everyone knows at this point that's in marketing or in SaaS, that everything is moving towards AI. So I think having that in your company and in your name is not only going to help you be searchable, because now people are looking for products that solve their problems using AI. And number two is if you're looking for funding and you've got enough users, you're going to get more attention quicker.
Do you feel like it's going to be some kind of a fad, though? Like, I understand AI is here to live. I fully believe that, and I think
there's definitely
benefits and cons. But the wave, like the crypto wave, right? Like we saw that. Oh, everybody and their mother has a crypto coin now, and it was just like I'm in crypto. Like we have crypto. It whatever. Do you feel that's going to be a part, like somebody just adds AI into their product just for a marketing sense, but is it really going to be important in 6 months, a year?
I mean, ultimately users will tell that in general, right? So you can throw AI on anything and it doesn't mean it's a good product.
Right.
The interesting part is I do believe there is a bubble, and there will be a bubble that bursts. 90% of these people are just building on top of OpenAI's API, and when you're doing that, like you're at the risk of them changing things.
Right.
It's the same thing we always talk about with like Podio developers and Go High Level developers. They're not real SaaS companies because you got no code. You can't change the code. You got no control.
Yeah.
No code, no control.
You have no control over it. But the interesting part of that is, and I don't know if we hit on this the other day, but is that the future really is, and I'm not talking 5 years, I'm talking probably by this time next year. If you can describe it, you can create it. So what that means for software means I have apps on demand, meaning if I need to solve a problem, as long as I can describe that problem well enough to the AI, then the AI can go and code the software that I need to actually go and build this.
Let's talk about that. So I think that's an interesting concept. Like I do agree with that. So just today, I added my developers into GitHub's Copilot, which is powered by OpenAI's Codex. And I went through their sales page and I like tried to understand what it was saying and what its benefits were. My developer, I'll give you a comment here. He literally just said he's used it for less than a couple of hours, and he said GPT-4 and Copilot are unbelievable, just amazing when you need refactoring. You just select a function and ask GPT to optimize or refactor it, and boom. Still not good at writing, just tests for functions, but good enough for basic functions. So it, the way it works is it goes out and it looks at all the code out there. And this is what I really think is the power of AI, is its ability to amass data and distill data down to the right answer. Because what he would currently have to do, because I mean, every developer's like this. I think you work with developers too, right? I had to explain this to Brandon when we started working. Really, they're just researchers. It's impossible to know everything out there. You have to go find the answers to solve a problem. What language, what stack, what architecture, how do I write this? What's the best, most optimized function for speed? And so they have to go out and research and comb through that research, find the best answer, implement and test it. So for them to be in a code editor and then simply say, like, here's the code that I wrote because this is what I wanted to do, optimize this and refactor it. And it can go out and look at something that might take them hours to research and distill it down into 3 seconds is pretty powerful. And then on the other end of like development, there's a bunch of tools out there, the no code revolution, right? So that's been going on for a couple of years now. And there are some powerful tools out there for no code, and even that extend into the SaaS world, I believe, with your ability to visually build something. And I think AI will probably be able to compete with that. But I don't see AI, at least for not a long time, being able to compete with big SaaS. We're not talking like, hey, I need, a way to add in agents so that I can send them a text blast, right? I could see AI potentially building something like that. You'd have to connect with Twilio and deal with all those problems. But for an AI to like understand the right architecture to build. Do I choose Firebase? Do I choose AWS? When I'm in AWS, which of the 70 products should I choose from to give me what I need in my SaaS product? I think there's a lot more out there. I do think it will help the coders. I do think that it could build parts of a SaaS product easily, but to understand product to engineering to implementation across the whole spectrum, that usually takes multiple people. I don't see it getting there for like a big SaaS product that has a ton of features that, holds hundreds of users in it, thousands of users in it. But certainly for like, my wife comes to me and says, hey, our homeschool group would like to have a page where we can all log in and post pictures.
Oh yeah, that'd be.
I could see myself going to AI and it could do that, but build me another investor fuse, build me another REI Ops Center. I see that being hard to do. You just posted a link here, so I'm going to open it up. I'll let you respond to that. What do you think? Or Brandon, you want to add something first?
No. Off topic. Go.
Okay. Go for it, Brent. What do you think about that?
No, I mean, I don't think you're too far off base there at all. I mean, you're still going to need somebody that knows what they're doing and what they're looking at. And that's ultimately why, like, the last 6 months I've been diving into coding, because I really want to learn these issues and figure out how to problem solve and build tools for myself. But I do think this has a bigger effect on the economy and society as a whole when we start talking about, I mean, Goldman Sachs just did a report where 300 million jobs are replaced, right? So without jobs, and no one can really point to where we're going. They talk about prompt engineering, but we don't like that. I mean, that's only going to last so long. As a matter of fact, I was reading an article today about auto prompt engineers, where they're basically learning how to prompt themselves. So all these people who are prompt engineers are just basically teaching the machine how to do their job.
Right.
But here's the thing: is you're talking about jobs, man. In a perfect world, the way life was supposed to be, if the dollar was backed by gold, if the capitalistic society actually provided the value that it was supposed to, and I love capitalism, but you would be getting to a point where you're reducing the amount of effort you have to put in while your value is still growing, your money, your income is still growing with less. Technology is supposed to help us work less while making the same or more, but it actually has done the opposite. Technology comes out, they charge us more for it, replace our jobs. And that's where my problem is, because I think we should have robots and AI doing our work while we're sitting back, we feed our families, and we're like, instead of me working, my boss is still paying me, and now I've done this, and I could go hang out with my family because I, as the worker, have got this tool doing my job. Instead the boss is like, nah, bro, you're fucking fired. I'm not paying you $50K a year anymore. I have this robot to do it, and that's where we went instead.
Yeah.
And because of the way the dollar is a fiat system, that then goes into the exact same thing, where instead of increasing our monetary value of like the money we earn, we have been decreasing the value or the power of the dollar, essentially. So now we work less. We have less value in the dollar. Technology is on the rise. We're getting replaced. It's going to happen.
I mean, McDonald's just opened their
I saw that.
Store. Yeah.
And I love it. Part of me, because they caused such a fucking uproar with like the minimum wage increase of how they thought they deserved money. And I remember saying to my office, like, all they just did was make McDonald's find a way to replace them. Mm-hmm. So congratulations, you're getting $13 an hour for the next year or two, but then you're fired. Why do you need them?
Have you been in a grocery store lately? You have to work there, and you have to clock in before you.
Bruh, they need to pay me to do the job that they want me to do, because, and then did you hear that they now are monitoring you, and between the weight, the scale, you bagging, they will start to estimate if you're stealing or forgetting to scan something. And then I think it's Target who does this. One of the stores, big stores, Walmart, something, they will gauge, they build a profile for you. If it becomes a pattern, they will send you a bill, or you will get arrested. They will charge you. If they deem it's just a one-time mistake, they won't do anything. But if they start to sense every time you come into the store that things aren't adding up to what's in your cart, and it's like, bro, I should steal shit from you because you don't want to check me out. I'm stealing this because you're making me do
not
the job.
Paying me.
Yeah, I'm paying you a profit when I buy these goods, so you can employ people to do this for me.
Right.
I mean, they already have the C stores where you just walk in, walk out. There's no everything's just tied to your mobile devices and stuff. They already have the technology to when you're walking around with your buggy, when you place something in there, it accounts for it. It knows what you grabbed, and you just walk right out and it charges you. Like that's the future. There aren't going to be none of those employees. But that's low skill. That's what we were worried about. 5-6 years ago, replacing people. It was like, well, we're replacing minimum wage workers and all this labor. Now, like, what the hell what am I going to need an accountant for?
Mm.
What am I gonna, like? I've already watched. I have a good friend who's already fighting a case. He's representing himself in court, but he's using ChatGPT for everything.
I told you. I swear to God. So we had that eviction that happened in the tenants. Either they hired a lawyer, or I joked around because they wrote our lawyer a letter, but it was using, listen, I'm not stereotyping people, but it was using words that were way beyond these people's education level. Yeah. And I was like, maybe either they found money to hire a lawyer, or like maybe they used ChatGPT, because everything they wrote was like these words. Even I didn't know. I was like, I don't know what the fuck that means. Like, it sounds like a lawyer wrote it, but it's in their handwriting. They wrote a handwritten on loosely paper and sent it in. And I was like, maybe
there's been some times that I've used it to like help me in my copywriting and make it better. And I've just played around with different personalities. And it's like I was doing like a food review because I have a local Facebook group that has like 100,000 people in it. So I was doing like a restaurant review, and I was like, I wonder what this sound like if Anthony Bourdain wrote it. And I was like, I can. It was great. It was fantastic, and it was eloquent, and it was beautiful. But I was like, that everyone's going to realize that there's no way in hell that I said that.
So
nor would anybody appreciate it, because again, I'm tired. Look, I'm really tired of having to dumb everything down to a 5th grade reading level. Like, why can't we get everybody to come up? Like, the whole marketing push now is like, make sure it's at a 5th grade reading level. Yeah. It's like I don't want to read that shit. Like, I want to know. Like, give me the meat and potatoes. I don't want the sides.
I think there's some big society implications if you're to say like people are going to get replaced from working in the grocery store, from working in McDonald's. What else are they going to do?
Here's what they're going to do, because I've been preaching this for 61 episodes. Every time we talk about shit like this, everything in life works in cycles. No matter, yeah, I believe in. I'm already seeing it. We've gone down the rabbit hole, okay, for health and food and all this stuff, and we started out doing manual farming. We worked all the way up to large stock farming with large tech companies, and everything's revolutionized through this to automate it. And we saw what that did to our food, our health, cancer, health rates, morbidity rates. Like it's done horrible for the human race. So now, as I go down the rabbit hole, I see people, they're going back. They want to do everything by hand. They want to have their own farm.
Powered by humans.
Yep, powered by, and listen, me and my wife are paying more. Like I found a farm in Florida, and I found another one out west that you know what I mean? It's a small family farm. They do everything themselves, and you buy their meat. They ship the meat. You could buy eggs from the one in Florida, Bonita Springs. You could buy eggs. You could buy all this stuff. They have homemade bone broth. You buy all this, and that's just them doing it all themselves.
Right.
No
That's what.
Until they become too much of a competition, that big farm takes over and says you're putting too much of a dent on them. We're going to pass laws and regulations.
Yeah, and that's
make it
the
almost
thing.
impossible.
Because there's 4 large meat packers in the entire country that handle everything, and they're trying to go outside. But again, I would argue with you and say because of technology, it has enabled them to do that. What the small farmer with technology at their hand, right? And I'm not talking about tech running their farm. I'm talking about social media. Right. Now they reach me on Instagram.
That's true, yeah.
That they could have never, and I can buy direct from them unless, of course, Brent, they pass a law. But I just think I see a lot of people going backwards and stuff.
Well, that's what you're saying when you're talking about the grocery stores, and I'm thinking, oh, people are really going to miss the Publix service. I don't know if you have Publix up there, Brent, but like Publix is renowned. Like my brother moved to Washington, D.C., and he's like, man, I miss Publix. They're so nice there. Like I imagine like, yeah, here's your, like maybe Walmart goes fully optimized. Like the people in Walmart are the greatest to go in and work with. But then it's like Publix is like, hey, still come in. We've got people here to help you with your needs, and people will pay for that.
Yeah.
They'll pay for that. So it's like convenience versus, I don't know what to call this category over here, but I definitely see that being like a trend that people are willing for. And, you know, I think, you know, that's the one piece that I'm interested in with regulations that come down from government with AI and all the stuff that we're talking about in automation, right? Is that you must disclose whether this is a human being or not. And people can understand.
I want to make sure I implement inside of deal bills. Like you'll be able to disclose, decide, toggle on and off until there's some kind of regulation that says otherwise. But for me personally, I prefer transparency and permission and being upfront about what's going on and who you're talking to and who you're dealing with.
Agreed.
Tell us about Deal Bell too, because we didn't even kick off the start of the episode talking about Deal Bell, AI regulations, everything.
Before we get into Deal Bell, because I do want to talk about that. Does anybody want to see what this has done in the last? It's been done for a little bit. I have now edited 2 episodes ago. Our thing, it has given me. I could share my screen.
Let's do it. I want to see. We just live AI happening in the show.
Let's do it.
All right. So this is what it does. This is from Brent. Not the videos aren't from him, but this is the website he was pitching a second ago or recommending. So I put it in. It was free. It signed in. It did a Google sign on. I have a free trial, expires in 31 days.
Nice.
I don't know what 3 hours means, but anyway, all I did was I went to YouTube while we were chit-chatting. I grabbed a URL, and it gave me 13, it gave me 15 clips. Now, the only thing I see as a problem is the way we record with like the triple people. It doesn't seem to be centered properly. So like my daughter does a lot of our editing, and she actually now centers it on the person talking and swaps as the voices switch, kind of like a Zoom thing. But listen, it gives you a
virality score. So play the one that was 99. I want to see what this one is.
Look at this. It provides valuable insight into property. It tells you why it chose it. Can you guys can't hear it, can you?
No.
Yeah, I don't know how it is. But look at
Can you
this. John, can I share my audio?
I thought you could.
I don't see how, but this is all I wanted to show you. So you see that, but let's come here for a second. Look at this. You were saying who made it. Ready? Sample of Alex Hermosi style for captions. So that's definitely where they're getting it. So there's stuff that I can.
That's funny.
So I don't know if this does anything. I can do some editing.
You'd have to save and compile to get it to do that.
Yeah.
It did say that it had fancy thing where it could like find the face and move on in the face.
Fit
so
layout props to achieve a more zoomed in right here. This one maybe. So you can edit it. You can do all of this. You can edit the captions. I mean, you could see that I'm talking. Well, you can't see it, but I could hear that I'm talking, John. So it's focused on John right now, even though. So that's the only.
Yeah, it's you talking.
It's not perfect, right? So especially if you're doing a setup like that where it's
but listen,
guys have with the full screen. It's there.
If I had like a solo podcast type thing.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here making content, and instead of making content, we'll use the thing where I am the content, right? I'm just doing my job, doing my training videos, whatever. I upload that to here. It wouldn't have these problems, and it would clip 15 of them. It did it in less than 15 minutes. I just uploaded the clip, and it had them all the captions right here. So that would be the only thing is if I could edit and pull this into more of a.
We might have to change our podcast style just so we can use this tool.
John, what do you think? Original ratio? Should I do original, or do you think I select?
I think it's the layout settings.
So what one? Phil?
Hang on. Go. I can't. What's it say above? I can't see because it's popping up with the things. Move your mouse. Select the layout you want to include. Oh, okay. Fill, fit, split. Try fit. You have to unselect the other ones, I think. I don't know why it lets you select. Now click fit and then hit save and compile.
So it's going to take, it takes a second here. But this is, and you can see because it did it for all of our episodes because that's just the way we record. Right. But this does replace, I mean, once it fixes that, if it was able to focus on where the voice was coming from or stuff like that, but I still stand by, like, for the average person making solo content, you know, like especially some of these other real estate guys that are just out there giving tips on, you know, cold calling, SMSing, best list to buy, how to start wholesaling. It's just them in front of their computer making a YouTube live or a YouTube video in general. Here's your free, like this is your free social media manager. And look, it's like post two.
There it goes.
Nice.
Let's go. Just go to this page. Yeah. Boom.
Yeah.
Job replaced. That just replaced.
Oh my god.
A whole shit ton of Filipinos.
The emoji is next level. The emoji's being pulled from there.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool.
This is wild. It's just like AI replacement for social media content creation through this website.
That's what I'm saying. Like its ability to.
There really is no special snowflake when it comes to this. There's nothing special about us and what we're capable of doing.
Yeah.
Period. Other than creating machines that can be better than us.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about your real estate product. I know it's not available before anybody gets excited, but talk to us like how you're using AI and how you're wanting to help AI or help real estate investors using AI.
Yeah, I mean, so the roadmap's pretty simple. We're about to release chatbots for your website. So instead of like somebody actually manning, and it won't, obviously there's been many chat where you have to go and build and kind of guess what people are going to say. We've been testing it pretty extensively, giving it sarcasm, giving it, being negative, being an asshole towards it, like all kinds of things.
Fuck your mother.
How people are going to, how people are going to break this thing or how people are going to try to break it. And I'm not going to say it's going to be unbreakable, but for the common person that's going to come there and want to chat to somebody about actually selling their house, it's pretty convincing, and we're there. So right now we're finishing up the UI aspect of it. The back end is pretty much done. All we got to do is push it. We're going to have a few testers on to begin with, just to, again, so I try to break this thing, see what happens.
So that's for my website. I'm sorry to interrupt. I got That's for me to buy from you to put onto my website.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And you could do something. I mean, there's already sites. I think it's Site GPT. Like if you wanted to build your own, it will scrape your website and it will literally just create the chatbot based on the content that's on your website. So I don't think chatbots are really that impressive or that cool. It's just one of the things that just makes sense to be able to do. What the part of it is where we basically are getting it to pull the aspects of the conversation that we want out, much like that video is doing. So it then pushes to your Zapier or to your CRM, right? So now I know, okay, this person's name, address, phone number, blah, blah, blah. So not everyone's going to want to fill out a form. Not everyone's going to want to call. Not everyone's going to want to do a chat bot. Everyone responds to marketing in different ways. So having that aspect on your website would be great. Past that will be follow-ups through text messaging. I don't want to get into the realm of cold calling because I think there's way too much gray area there.
Elaborate on the follow-up for texting.
So follow-up would be essentially you'll set a schedule for your once somebody comes into your system for a lead, you'll set a schedule. It'll automatically prompt. It automatically will send them a text message to follow up, and then it will have a conversation based on that to try to basically schedule an appointment or schedule a phone call. So it's not going to be anything that's going to be.
So do I have to set that, or are you pre-filling that?
What you will do is you can set a timer, right? So like if I have not heard back or responded, or
I set that. I want this every 7 days or after 7 days.
Yeah.
Then what?
Correct.
Is that all I have to do?
Yeah, that's it.
I don't need it. So right now through Investor Fuse, right, we have that like follow sequence, but I'm typing the text message and it doesn't have a convo, right? The person responds back on my smartphone line. I then as a human go do that. You're saying I just set the date time frame, the schedule, and it decides what to text. And then it decides what to respond.
Based on the conversation that it's already stored inside of the database.
So at what point do I as a human come back into play?
So ideally it would be schedule a phone appointment or schedule an in-person appointment, depending on how your system operates.
With something like a Calendly? Is that
like a Calendly? Yeah, something very simple.
Bro, you know who I was just talking to about this? Our good podcast buddy Tyler. He does the Calendly appointment setting, and we were just having a convo about how to be more efficient in scheduling appointments over multiple acquisition reps. That would be right up his alley of how. Oh, did you ever talk with him about that? I told him.
No, I have researched that, and there's a solution coming from Investor Fuse that literally brings Calendly into Investor Fuse across all your acquisitions agents, all their calendars.
Is it AI based?
It's not AI based.
No.
Maybe they have AI now. Like I found it a year ago and have been following it on its journey, but they might have AI now. But yeah.
So am I and this is called Deal Bell?
Yeah.
So am I?
So right now,
go ahead.
Right now, it's simply just a skip tracing and list stacking service. I realized a while back that was a red ocean. Was looking for my opportunity to get in. This all started like when I watched Google Duplex back in 2018 announce like their voice assistant, and they were showing me making it phone calls and like scheduling a dinner reservation, and it was handling normal style conversation, even hiccups in the conversation fairly well. And I was like, man, as soon as I get this hands on this, like call centers are done. But fast forward to today is like that's the ultimate goal. I want to have voice assistants. Now I will not allow my system to do outbound call. You could probably hack it to do cold outbound calls. For me personally, there's too many gray areas. There's too many legalities. Even though there's not law hasn't caught up with AI, I'm just not one of those that's going to go move fast and break things. And I also don't want my tool to be like the ultimate spam machine to where there's thousands of AI calls being made a day from to one little area and just bug the shit out of everyone because you make enough noise, which is happening now, which is why you're having issues. The conversations in my last masterminds were constantly like, how do we jump through all these hoops to ensure that we can still text, to ensure that we can still cold call, like rotating numbers out, making sure that I register these numbers, and how do I constantly make sure that day is coming to an end very, very soon, faster than most people realize. does with laws and regulations. So I don't want to be a part of any of that. I want to handle inbound and I want to handle follow-up. Past that, like what you do with it and how you use it, that's on you. You assume that responsibility.
I was at dinner last night.
I'm a huge believer in permission-based marketing.
Yeah. Me too.
I hear you. At dinner I was with last night, a guy knows a Ukrainian developer who is developing that AI cold calling.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Intriguing.
Yeah.
He's connected in with Nick Perry, actually, said at dinner last night. So it'll be interesting to see what that guy builds out to be able to do just AI cold calling, reach a bunch of people. But like you said, it's gonna, may piss some people off.
It would be very short-lived.
Yeah. They're just gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you're on the same page as I am over here. It's like I'm more. My mission is more to be in the room and to have these conversations when it comes to regulations and what happens. Simply because, like, I do think that we are in for a huge societal shift that we're not prepared for.
No, I agree. Listen, and everyone always like, oh, TV's not real life, but I've seen enough movies to know
Come true.
Yeah. Well, oddly enough, yeah, I know, right? Like when the pandemic happened, I'm like, and then you're watching all these old shows about what has just happened, and I'm like, wait, did somebody watch this movie and decide to make this real life because this shit is too similar? But it's and that's what Elon said, and that's where everybody. But then, and that's where I started talking. We got off topic with the government because somebody else I was listening to started talking about that, where they're like, even if all these companies said no mas and they just stopped, not everyone's. You have to have good faith at and that's not going to happen.
Right. So you need a nuclear level type pack. And you can track like massive development, like you can figure out who's buying all the GPUs and stuff like that.
And that was the thing.
Control and regulate that.
But with nuclear, they saw the writing on the wall. Everyone got together and said, "Hey, we need to stop this." Yeah. Right? And there's still some debate of whether people really stopped, which is why North Korea and all these other things. But we've all decided not to use it.
Yeah.
But I'm with you where I like the idea of technology making our life easy. So we could sit back and do more with less of our time and make the same or more money, but making our life exponentially easier, not necessarily going in and causing. I still feel there's a place for humans. Yeah, I feel like you need to coexist, not totally replace the human.
And that's the problem is like coexist, right? We've never been more divided, and I think that's the intention of the government in general.
Oh, 100%.
That's a big name.
I mean, let's fight about all these trivial BS.
Yeah.
Like shit.
Meanwhile, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And
let's
the fact
argue
that
about
people
what goes
don't
on some
understand
Bud Light can or what goes on this. Like, I don't give a shit. Like whatever. I work for
I was gonna say that when you said that. I was like, "Oh shit, bro! I hope you're not drinking."
You weren't on their marketing team recently, were you?
I was on there. I did marketing for them back in.
Are you the one?
No, I mean recently, like the last couple months.
Are you the one who started that campaign? No, they have a scapegoat for it.
They've been doing special cans for like people and like stuff like that. They never hit the shelf. That's what people don't understand. Everything's getting misconstrued. They sent that influencer a can with her face on it, and that's it. Like they would never hit the shelf. That was it. And because it caused such an uproar, whatever. But they make cans for people and for events that you never can buy in stores. They've been doing that for forever. But it's all trivial stuff, right? Like what at the end of the day, what does that really matter, right? Yeah. I'm more worried about who's writing our laws right now. Is it corporate America that's writing our laws, or is it our actual congressman that I elected? Who's putting money in their pockets and what? Yeah, it's corporate America. Yeah, 100%. Right. So we're seeing this massive shift in everything. Right. When the elite have consolidated all the power, knowledge, and resources and money, what do they need us for?
100%. That's why Scarface said first you get the money and then you get the power. Because once you have the money, you get the power.
Right.
Yeah, and that's it. It's pharma. It's all of them, man. And that's my concern though, is like in real estate, we're all in a race for money. And what won't you do for money? And before technology, it was just humans in general just being pieces of shit, lying, doing all this stuff to get a deal, whatever they have. Now you put robots in those same people's bad actors' hands. It's an exponential increase in the bad things that can be done. And that's where some concern goes, because I think there is a spot where we just coexist. If that's
no, I mean that's ultimately what I hope for. Like,
but I don't know if it's going to happen.
Look, judging by history, we're going to have to get a lot of things wrong. People are going to have to suffer for a long time, and then before we correct it, find the right footing.
I think
we can either deal with it now and get ahead of it, right? Or we can sit here and trudge through it. And
I don't think you could do that. I don't think you could do that because
I don't either. That's why I think the option is
as long as you continue to go, eventually robots will become so smart that they will be able to they'll break out of the cage. You're basically building something, putting it in a cage. And telling it to cage itself. Yeah, you're saying cage yourself, please, and here are the rules. But like any rational being, and we're training it to be rational, you can out-rationalize your own training and use logic and reason to make sense as to why you're doing it. And like Boston Dynamics is like, they just bother me. I feel like someone should shut them down. And I get they do it all in the name of research, but they're over here beating the shit out of robots, kicking them. I'm like, all this motherfucking thing has to do is remember what you did to it. We're all gonna fucking pay. I'm watching videos of them hitting this thing with a bat, and like it's like falling down, getting back up, and they're just beating the shit out of it. I'm like,
Meanwhile, bro, I'm over here on ChatGPT going, please write me.
Yeah, exactly. You're just trying to use it innocently.
Thank you.
Yeah, please be nice to me.
Yeah, and like I'm like,
my social profile for AI.
I just need help, dude. I don't know, Boston Dynamics, and now they got these dogs, and it's.
I have a friend. I can't say who or how he has them, but he has 4 of those robot dogs that he's working with, and they're pretty crazy.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Somebody posted a thing where they broke down how to kill them. Like they showed the weak spots where the battery packs are, where the cameras are. And it's like,
if you see one coming at you with a gun on it, this is what you do.
All I kept thinking, and I have guns, dude. I got my gun safe, everything, and I'm like, okay, I see a couple of these things coming at me. Am I going for the guns and being like, okay, here's where I am, or am I looking at them going, holy shit? I am being attacked. Like, I'd be so stunned that all of a sudden my life has come to this. These things are coming at me. I'm like, no, is anybody seeing this right now?
We'll use ChatGPT to write a nice speech at your funeral.
I've been messaging Chat. They got the mobile app and be like, "Can you please communicate with these dogs coming at me and tell them that I'm okay? I'm
good." Into their operating system and let them know I'm a nice person.
So we were talking about like AI breaking out, right? Just think about this for a second, and I want to see if I can melt your brain for a minute. Stanford did a research study where they created like this little environment where they basically like a little Sims environment. They put a bunch of different characters in there, gave them a bunch of backstories, and let them interact with themselves.
They're all AIs. They're AIs.
They're all AIs. They started communicating with one another, scheduling things and stuff like that, right? Like, at what point do all those people get around and start talking? All those AIs going, well, what is this thing that we're in?
Well, like the Truman Show.
Who really controls us, right? But what's to say that we're not also living in that same type of experiment?
Yeah.
That's like the Black Mirror show.
Mm.
Oh yeah. I've never watched that. I've heard references to it.
Papa P, you'd like that. I only saw a couple episodes. One of them was like that, except for like dating. Pretty trippy.
Listen, who said we are in that, and who controls us right now are the people, the big corporations, and the people that we've elected, and what they're trying to do for us, and we all play to that game. But just going back, I mean, I think we got a long way to go with this stuff for real estate. But I think on a basic level, right? If people were here and they hired somebody and they brought somebody into their organization and paid them and built a real team around having somebody enhance your system with technology, right? And you don't need to use the word, we keep throwing around AI, and a lot of this stuff just isn't AI, but just in general, using automations. For our industry, we all know that the biggest automation anybody or most people know of or use, the extent of automations that they use is Podio. Like that's it. Podio and Zapier. Like to them, that's it, right? Like, oh my God, I got Zapier and web forms. Like they're like web forms and Zapier. And like, oh my God, I got my leads going into Podio and I'm
got my constant contact. And it's just...
Yeah. But that is the very just baseline, just nothingness of what automation can do. I'm with you, like not just chatbots, but I think there's a whole group of stuff that you can replace if you had somebody and you really focused on that to a point to where maybe that one-man show becomes a doable thing again.
Yeah,
right.
Because it really hasn't.
Point.
Yeah, they just left.
You're maybe a one-man show.
There's another cool project I just sent in the chat.
What is this one? Lindy.ai?
I've heard of this one.
You dropped that in the thing, John?
I'm sharing the screen. Is it sharing? No. Yeah, it is. Okay.
So hang on. Brent, listen, you tell me if this is out there. What I'm looking for. I want, and because I love tech, bro, and I've watched the movies, and like I remember when Her came out, and I was like, man, if I could have like a realistic, not like a girlfriend, but like an assistant that I could talk to. The girlfriend would be cool. Mama P would have a problem with that though. If I robot.
That's replica.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, is it to that point where you could have real conversations, have an assistant like that? Is that out there? Is that what this is?
Essentially, yeah.
So, but
this is handling your emails. This is handling your calendar.
It almost has like Zapier type things in it.
Yeah.
That's like automating Zapier.
Can I talk to it, or is it all chat?
Okay.
It's chat.
It's all chat. However, there is, I think it's all chat. I'll have to dive into that some more. But there's another one that's called like Call Annie. I want to say is what it was. Whatever. Like it's literally it's like a FaceTiming AI, and it's pretty good.
Okay.
So who was I? I was listening to Tom Bilyeu, and he had somebody on. They were talking about AI in chat, and he was saying that's kind of where it's going to, where like not just assistance, but relationship based AI, to where there's companies working on like already like even OnlyFans. Like there's a lot of AI replacing real OnlyFans girls with fake AI generated OnlyFans, and people don't know, to a point to where you could create your perfect, based on all of the data around your social existence, they can create you your perfect relationship, right? Or even I was going like, could you do an assistant, and where you can have phone calls, conversations, chats, you're having a real communication with this AI, and it's all based on what you want. It's like confirmation bias.
So there are already apps that will remember everything that you looked at. There are already apps so that you can pull it up at any point in time. There are already apps that will take all of your data, right? So every email you've ever sent, every Facebook post you've ever made, everything in your notes, and analyze that so it can basically model how you speak. So then it can respond to emails and things like that of that nature, like you would normally.
So, but do I have all that in one? I don't want to have to use 5 different things for that.
I mean, I think that's what's coming. I mean, everyone's got this, little idea that they want to go and fix their little small problem, but as most things do, everything kind of consolidates.
Intriguing.
Very intriguing.
But I mean, we're talking what? I mean, ChatGPT came out in November.
Right.
So when has there been a technology that ever been like really was published to the world that has ever gotten 100 million users in 2 months? Never. Has ever gotten us anybody to have the level of conversation that we had about society going to need to change? We have to literally think about everything. We have to think about education. We have to think about food. We have to think about everything. Everything has to be rethought.
Lindy, you got to go on a wait list, but I'm intrigued by this personal assistant thing because I need one. I've been talking about hiring a personal assistant for a very long time, and I've never done it. But I would really like. I'm a very voice-oriented person. Like even like for John, I send him voice memos all the time. Like I hate texting. I hate typing. I just
You know
want
what I need? I need AI to listen to your voice memos, summarize them for me, and give them to me in a shorter format.
No, bro, they're only like 4 or 5 minutes.
I'm just kidding. They're not bad.
See, but that's so Brent, like that's where I'm coming from though. Is here I am trying to enhance my life to free my time, right? And that's where I think the majority of where AI benefits, right? Or robots or automations benefit us. But it again becomes complex because you have one that can check my emails, but then you have another one that does FaceTiming. This one I got a text. Like, where is the one that does it all? How far away are we from that? And the one where I could develop a relationship with, where just like a real human, when I have a personal assistant, I get to know them. You know, like even my employees, I get to know them. I know what they like. They know what I like. We have inside jokes. We have a good relationship.
You'll have Jarvis in under 5 years.
I'll have Jarvis.
Amazing.
In under 5
Iron
years.
Man Jarvis.
Yeah, I know. I'm Jarvis.
Okay. Yeah. There's an AI tool out there called Jarvis. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was called Jarvis, and then they got.
Oh, that's right. They
sued.
changed it.
Yeah,
Never mind.
They got sued. Yeah, Disney
Marvel
sued them,
sued
threatened
them?
to sue them. Well, Disney threatened to sue them, so they had to change their name. They were Conversion.ai, and then they went to Jarvis, and then now they're Jasper. Which another thing, it's a funny thing, right? It was built on GPT-3. When I first heard about GPT-3 launch, I think there was like 3 YouTube videos on there. Oddly enough, it's like those 3 guys are still pretty prominent in the field, and but
I've met them. They're smart cookies.
Yeah, Jasper, right, was built on top of that. Went to $1 billion company. Do you think they're struggling with retention right now?
Yes, I think it's their
100%.
biggest problem right now. I think they hit a bubble.
ChatGPT come out and pretty much just wipe their business clean because the minute ChatGPT came out, I was like, I can cancel this $1,000 a year membership that I have with them.
Yeah,
that I was grandfathered in on. I literally got rid of my grandfather account.
To your point, though, like you're talking about prompt engineers, like I still think there's a place for tools like Jasper that is helping you be the best at what you need to do. And like I love their templates, right? Like instead of having to type out, I like a YouTube video that goes viral and blah 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 blah. It's just like here, and then it builds the prompt for you that gets you the results. That's what I use.
I'll give you a great
Jasper.
plugin for ChatGPT, AI PRM. It has like over 3,000 design prompts already ready to go at your fingertips.
Okay.
I don't want to do all that. Who can I have right now to make my life easy across my business? Like, who's that? What's that one go-to? Is that Lindy? Is that the one thing that I can help alleviate my work? Like, what one's checking my emails? What one's responding to people? Are they in my phone? Like, what can I do?
Nothing yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard.
Wait.
I mean, it's what? Yeah, wait.
I said wait.
Just wait. Yeah, just wait. It'll be there.
How long? What do you think?
For something like a personal assistant, that can read your emails, handle your scheduling, all that stuff, and respond. I mean, I think you'll be there probably by the end of the year.
Yeah, I saw. It was a TED Talk. A guy was going through, and he had this. It was on his lapel or something. It was something, and he was AI that knew him, and it knew him very well. And he was like, held up chocolate and was like, I think I'm going to eat this chocolate. And the thing is like, you should not eat this chocolate because of this, and you've done this, and you need to do this. But he could still control it, and he would tap it. And he'd say, you know what, I'm going to eat. I appreciate your advice, but I'm going to eat it anyway. And it's like, it knows him, and it's helping him. So I just thought something like that, but it's obviously out there. So you're saying by the end of the year, I can wait that long. I can wait that long. Cool.
Yeah, it'll be there.
All right. So this is informing. Brent, I'm gonna need. You got Instagram, dude? Let's post this. You got Instagram? What do you got? How can I reach out to you?
Yeah, Mr. Sippy, and yes, that nickname was given to me.
I doubt it,
Mr.
If that's the lie you want to go with, we'll do it. I know you picked that one.
I can resort. His name's Christian Picciolini, who gave me that nickname. He,
Here, give me
he
your
only worked at
Instagram
Labor Day
handle
before.
in the chat so I can post it up for everybody to look at.
Sippy Master.
I don't do much on Instagram, but
Is Facebook better for you?
No,
Where do you want people to go follow you, Brent? Let's phrase it that way.
I mean, Facebook's where I post most of the updates, ideations. My newsletter is where I share everything about AI. That's really it. I talk on those two platforms. Facebook, I wish I could get rid of, but if I didn't have businesses that were tied to Facebook, I would get off of Facebook. But
Man, you know what? Like, I feel like we're gonna have to bring you back on this show and have a more pointed conversation about like certain things. I feel like we could definitely dive deeper on some chat, on some the voice, and then again on the general like assistant based AI. Because I think those three things, I think we could definitely dive deeper on. I could definitely, I could see that. All right, this is a good episode though.
Cool.
We were all over the place.
I enjoyed it, man.
I'm about to post some Instagram content. I'm about to post some of this Opus Instagram content.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool.
It's hilarious.
Well, Brent,
Awesome.
Thanks for coming. Everybody, right here on the screen, if you're listening via audio, it's aideations.com. That's where you can sign up for Brent's newsletter. It also has all of the links to his social right there. So definitely go follow him. I love that your wife is extremely successful and you just get to focus on this because you can then teach all of us everything that we need to know about AI. So we'll definitely have you again on in the future. Appreciate you coming.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brent, man.
Later.